Are live back on the Moneyline Monaco podcast. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. If you're enjoying yourself, we're in San Diego gear here Friday. It's a Padres Friday, but we're here talking NFL. And if you joined me yesterday, boy, when I say I don't like it, I love it. Sometimes we are dialed. I told you Niners first half, Niners to the window, full game. Debo Samuel over on all props and cash, some more. We were on fire in that one. And sometimes you just have to go with your gambling gut. Home divisional dog, 3.5-point line. Typically, short work week, you lean historic numbers. But the eye test is the eye test. San Francisco, in both sides, trenches wise, had the advantage, and you got them at a better number. And that's when I say you got to work backwards. Books lay lines for the following week. You're going to get lines you otherwise wouldn't based off results from the previous week. Perfect example is the Bengals laying 5 against the Giants, lose a ridiculous game against the Ravens. Giants go to the PNW, get a win against the Seahawks. Now we're talking about a 3.5-point line. I digress. That was a Niners -5 look-ahead line. They drop a game to the Cardinals. You're getting 3.5 value, if you want to call it that. Yada, yada, yada. All right, week 6, couple of divisional dances, couple of public plays, but a couple of sharp plays. One disgusting one. I'm talking vegetables and no spices type disgusting. We won't start that one off with the program. We will kick it off at Jerry's World, and we're taking the Longfellow Deeds helicopter all the way to Dallas from Detroit, awful buy. But you know what? We don't take helicopters inside domes. We take a Ford F-150 built Ford, Danny Campbell tough, right to the stadium, ready to beat the brakes off a lowly Dallas Cowboys team that has not scored more than 20 points in a month of football. Now, we look back last year. Lions off a bye, which they are this week. 41 points last year off a bye. Dan Campbell, if we remember this game last year, called a beautiful under a minute dish to Taylor Decker on a 2-point conversion, which otherwise gave the Lions a 21-20 win. But they throw a little flag. They lose out on the play. They lose the game. Sick beat. Scotty Van Badby, 2019 Lions catch an L. You don't think this is a bulletin board circle the game spot for a Detroit Lions team? You want to go ahead and pencil in a trick play to an offensive lineman. This is how Danny Campbell rolls all day. But this theme-wise, if we're just talking stylistic, is a trenches game. And we're talking about a Dallas Cowboys team that is not particularly strong right now on the defensive side. You're talking about no Lawrence, banged up Parsons, likely not to go. And we have a Cowboys team ranked dead last in the NFL in opponent EPA, 29th in opponent rush success rate against a Lions team, 3rd in that category, top 10 running team, putting over 150 on the ground with their 2-headed monsters, D. Montgomery and Gibbs rushing for over 5 yards a carry. You sit here on the other side, and you go, all right, Hutchinson's already had a record historic sack game. This is a real pass rush. Obviously, this is a solid offensive line in Dallas, but they can't run the football. I mean, you cannot run the football in Dallas. Now, Rico's a little bit of an uptick from Zeke festively plump Elliott, only growing wider. I mean, he needs to stop doing the eating sign because it just looks like he's eating and he's not exercising. But we're going boat race. Give me the Lions off of 2 weeks of prep. If we're going defense dance, give me the better defense right now. Is the Dallas Cowboys defense to be feared? I mean, I'm looking at this matchup, Goff in a dome, familiar environment, and then you go off betting trends. The Lions have covered 6 of their last 7 road games. They're 5-1 in their last 6 covering the spread. You don't want to lay -3 on the road. It's a little gross. I just can't sit here off a Dak moment. Really, a game they should have lost. A game they should have lost, but Justin Fields cannot move a football and cannot seem to score over 20 points. And that's the last thing the Lions are worried about here. I mean, this game ain't going down to the last play. But if we're looking at Dallas Cowboys football, offensively speaking, the last 2 weeks, you score 20 against the Giants, 20 against the Steelers. Whoop-de-doo Basil. You think 20 points is enough against a top 3 offense in this league that's balanced across the board with Goff off an 18 for 18 outing? No, thank you. Detroit, built for tough Lions, protecting JG all day. 6th lowest sack rate, people. 6th lowest sack rate. How many teams can you name 3 Frank Ragnow offensive linemen? You can't. Sewell, Decker, Ragnow? I don't play Madden like that. I got 2 jobs. Let's keep it pushing. Battle of the Beltway. I don't know the geography. I'm a Southern California kid in Manhattan. But this is a geography rivalry. This is the Washington Commanders absolutely feeling themselves headed to Baltimore, where, if you're going by themes and themes alone, give me the 6.5 points in the Washington Commanders. Psych. Basketball psych out. Rookie at M&T Bank. Let me give you the numbers. I don't like it. I love the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday. And again, I was on the Bengals last week over the Ravens. It's not easy to get a game wrong, take that team, and go back the other way and take the Costanza opposite. I fade the Ravens. Now I'm back in the Ravens, and they cooked me last week. But the numbers are the numbers. At M&T Bank specifically, going over the last 5 years, they've faced 20 quarterbacks that are rookies. They're 18-2. 18-2 against rookie quarterbacks at their place. Furthermore, last 9 games started by rookies, 1 touchdown. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Jaden Daniels is not him. I'm just sitting here going, all right, Washington has gone on a heater to start the last 2 work weeks, crushing the Cardinals by half, demolishing the Cleveland Browns by half. Who plays just as prolific through 5 weeks in the first half of football games? The Baltimore Ravens, 21 plus points in 2 of the last 3 half times, averaging the same number that the Washington Commanders have, except the Commanders are giving up 130 on the ground. Guess who's got the number 1 rush D in the NFL? Baltimore Ravens, giving up 60 on the ground. So Derrick Henry, who's getting his legs under him, 199 versus the Bills, 92 last week for the Bengals, both over 6 yards per carry. You got a Ravens team that winning the turnover differential head-to-head. You got a Ravens team that, if you want to call it this, dual threat quarterback, has a lot of familiarity with a quarterback in practice that can run around, that can make things happen, that can improvise. That is a human joystick. Shout out JD. He's that dude. But we're just not looking at the other side of the football. The Washington defense, Danny Quinn's hat is going to go from backwards to forwards. He might even button a couple buttons by that third quarter. He's going to be shook at how dialed in this Baltimore Ravens team is. You come off a win that you should have lost, you better expect a buttoned up week of practice. Now, nothing better in the NFL than not for long than fading a team selling high. The Commanders haven't lost in a month. If you've been following me, that's the first time I've gotten the Ravens game wrong last week all season on the program. I've been buttoned up, dialed in on Baltimore Ravens football. And I told you, I screamed it from the rafters, grab them at minus 140 if you were willing to swallow the juice at an 0-2 start to make the playoffs. They went this way, Bengals went that way, yada, yada. I just can't sit here with a worse defense and more experience and rookie defensive numbers on our side and the home court and feel good about the Commanders. I don't really care if I am on a otherwise public side. This is a fascinating line. Why is this 6.5? Because the Ravens are winning by 10. Ravens minus 6.5. All right, I'm gonna go quick on this one because it's vegetables with no spices. And nobody's touching it. But we're gonna do what we gotta do. And we're gonna take MAYE, may the force be with you. New England Patriots +7 at home. The better defense. That's right. I said it, at least statistically speaking, going against no Nico Collins, now on IR with a hammy. Still a banged up Mixon. And CJ Stroud is rocking with a team that's given up more points than they've scored. We're looking at this Texans team, and we got to do a say it out loud moment here. All right. You get outscored by a Bills team with Josh Allen getting less than 10 completions on the whole sample size of the game, and you get outscored by that offense 17-6 last week. Perplexing. You go 7 points in the second half, win but don't cover against the Jacks. 3 points, win, no cover against the Bears. Give up 20 on a backdoor Scotty Van Babby week 1 against the Colts. People don't forget, super bad. 2.5 point line. They win 29-27. They're 1-4 against the spread to start the season. And then you think about what this theme of this year has been. Dogs, 6 or more prevalent here, despite me just swallowing 6.5 in the previous game, are 16-2-1 against the spread. Historic numbers in the last 20 years. 16-2-1 against the spread. Underdogs getting 6 or more with 11 outright wins. So you sit here, you go, all right, Patriots, top 10 D, going against a Texans team that's cashed 4 straight unders, that's only covered 1 game without their number 1 wide receiver, likely no starting running back again, and a team that's been blown out last week, which statistically off a blowout and a quarterback change. Can't say it's a terrible spot. Can't say it's a great spot. I go back and I think about what a Mayo as a player situationally spot. What would he do to rile up his defense when they bring in a new quarterback in New England? This is that game where the whole wide world's betting the Texans and you're just on Vegas's side. And if we're looking at Danny Ocean and we're looking at Brad Pitt eating in another scene in Ocean's 11 and looking up at the strip and saying which side wins, the buildings win, not the people. This game, we're siding with the building. Over 80% of the tickets are on the Texans. Why are the Texans allowed to be swallowing 7 points on the road? They're not. They shouldn't be. Wrong side. Give me the Patriots. Disgusting. This one I like 2 plays. And I do think Chargers, Broncos in Denver is a very tough spot to play without question. But you got to go under 35.5 here, point blank, flat out. But I want to give you a side because these are 2 top 3 defenses. Chargers haven't won them in a month. Broncos have won 3 straight. Kind of similar to the Commanders. I mean, are we sitting here with Bo Nix throwing for less than 300 yards in 2 games in 8 quarters as a serious dude to be scared of when you got a Harbaugh team giving up less than 13 points per game? I mean, this is the longest Denver Broncos winning streak since 2021, and it's 3. It's 3. So Chargers, league low, 12.5 per. Haven't won in a month. Winning the turnover differential between these 2. This is disgusting. This is 2 bottom 5 passing offenses. But Denver's winning games with an average of 19 points per game. You got to think health has been a factor for the Chargers in the last couple of weeks. You get a bye week. All right, Herbert's ankle, resting and restoring. Joe Alt, Slater. This is what Denver does in their front 7. They get to the quarterback. They rough it up. Not against 2 future all-pros, 1 already all-pro tackles. We'll see if Joey Bosa's a go. This is, again, kind of a cardinal sin. Don't want to take a road divisional favorite at a tough spot like Denver, mile high. But I cannot sit here with 2 weeks of Harbaugh defensive prep off of 2 straight L's and feel comfortable backing the Broncos that don't put up 20 points, that really don't even move the football, and are going against the best defense in the NFL, statistically speaking, through a month. I got to take a disgusting, again, seems to be the theme of this pod, that word, Denver Broncos, L, and I do like the under. Chargers in 11 of their last 13 against AFC opponents. Trend to the under. And if you are wondering head-to-head, Denver's won the last 3. Chargers have won 18 of the last 25 against the Broncos. Don't worry. They know how to win in mile high. LA former San Diego Chargers to the window. And last, and certainly not least, we go to MetLife. And if it wasn't a New York Yankees and a New York Mets Monday, I would likely be in the arena again. I love myself some MetLife. We are getting, again, fire a coach, bring in another play caller spot on a primetime moment with a team playing for their season, going against a very injured Buffalo Bills club. Josh Allen, as we mentioned in the Texans breakdown, less than 10 completions last week against the Texans, and we had the Bills, and we were sorely mistaken on that one. Now, live betting got them up to 11.5. They lose by 3. Some value there. They're a team that don't quit. But if we're looking at this Bills team, who are the Buffalo Bills right now? And I got smoked on them in 2 of the first 3 weeks, but I bashed them, and no one wants to give me any big Salad Costanza credit for it. They're not that good on offense right now. I mean, they can run the football, don't get me wrong, but these Madden 79s that Allen's throwing to is starting to catch up to him. Let's look at the injuries, though, and key injuries, defensively speaking, for the Bills. Ed Oliver, out. Taron Johnson, out. Taylor Rapp, questionable. Von Miller, not allowed to play. Go look it up. Shakir, banged up on the offensive line. You have 4 starters and an offensive key piece banged up for Josh Allen. Now, as good as he plays the Dolphins, he does not play the Jets that well. Remember, week 1, same spot, but a couple of weeks prior, Monday Night Football, he couldn't beat Zach Wilson and the boys. But you look at the last couple games, and they go 30-plus points the first 3 weeks. They barely break 30 in 2 collective games. I mean, you win, you don't cover against Arizona. You beat a 1-4 Jacksonville team with no conceivable reason for getting up in the London morning, and a Dolphins team where Tua goes out mid-game. The Jets, say it out loud, in the last 3 games, 3 points to the Pats, 10 points to the Broncos, both in the place they're hosting this game, and they give up 6 points in the second half and win the turnover differential, point differential in the second half against Minnesota. That game was on Aaron Rodgers. He told John McAfee on Wednesday. Aaron Rodgers Tuesday got moved to Aaron Rodgers Wednesday. That's how big this week was. But according to CBS, you get an uptick, 14% increase in win rate the first week following a firing of a head coach. I think about this with Pierce and the Raiders last week. You bring in Brick, and we ain't talking Brick, Steve Carell from Anchorman. We're talking about a defensive specialist, Salah's guy, hired him personally, going to get the job done. They're going to contain Josh Allen. There's no downfield threat in this game. Curtis on his third team, Samuel, miss me. The Jets have the better personnel. They are off an all-out burial playing for their season moment, L, and they're at home in prime time, and they're getting points. Go look at the tickets. Go look at the splits. Public likes the Bills. Sharps like the Jets. I know you'd love +3 here. Josh Allen had 9 completions against the Texans D, who is giving up more points than they're scoring. I don't even think the Houston Texans are that good right now. I think they're getting away with it. I mean, they got away with a Jags win. They got away with a Colts week 1 win. They stole at the very end that game against Buffalo. They should not have won that game despite looking what they did in the first half. Give me the hungrier, pissed off team. Do I dare mention New York vibes, New York sports are top tier? Can Danny Dimes the night prime time before leave a little positive crumbs in MetLife for the New York Jets, even though I probably lean Bengals in that one, 1-4 desperation. So we end the program Jets +2.5. We are on the Ravens -6.5. We are on the Patriots +7, the Chargers -3, and the Lions -3. Couple of -3 road favorites. Don't love them, but I like the spots. Couple of home divisional dogs, or a couple of home dogs. One of them divisional. I like a 3-2 week for the program. Do I dare say 4-1? And we didn't have a good week last week, so we're due. Buttoned up picks. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Hey, my mom listens. I think she's international right now, having a birthday in Italy. Happy birthday. Don't forget to hug your mothers. To my moms. We'll see you next week. Again, check me out. MSG Networks, ESPN New York, Kaplan and Crew, ESPN Vegas. I'm all over the circuit. We're out here getting reps, baby. Don't forget, to ta-ta real smooth. See you week 7. Let's go, Pods.